In this video, we'll be looking at some baby animals you've never seen before. Get ready for a dose of cuteness and some new facts about the unknown nature. We've got the cutest cubs of dangerous hippos, amazing bats with snow-white fur, and much more in this video. Aadvark. It's tricky to describe exactly who Aadvark cubs resemble. Many of us can't even imagine the adults. How about a hybrid of a kangaroo, rabbit, and a piglet? Yes, in Africa, they're called earth piglets. As early as 14 weeks of age, the babies begin to explore the world with their mother and dig up ants and termites by tearing up the ground on their own. These excavations require powerful claws, but even with them, these babies look cute. Jumping mice. We can picture gerbils just fine, at least from pictures and books about animals, but what about jumping mice? To get an idea of what they look like, it's enough to imagine a hybrid of a kangaroo and a field mouse. Three-toed jumping mice are dwarf rodents that live in deserts. Even adults are pretty fascinating, let alone the cubs. It was only after videos of these adorable creatures went viral on YouTube that the general public got a chance to look at them. As soon as the footage of jumping mice gained popularity, the number of requests for them increased. Many people wanted to have such a pet, but it's not that simple. It's very difficult to care for these babies in captivity, so most countries have banned the sale of them to people who like exotics. Platypus. In Europe, the platypus was seen for the first time in 1798. One animal was brought across the oceans from Australia to Britain. Even then, eyewitnesses thought the strange creatures were really cute. The cubs of this Australian miracle cause emotion and desire to stroke and take in hands. Newborn platypus cubs are not adapted to independent life. They don't have hair and they're blind, and the babies are about an inch long. Naturalists who've seen platypus babies in the wild say they're really active. The babies play with each other all the time. That's one reason why small enclosures with platypus cubs are popular in zoos. Did you know there are white bats? They're really cute. For instance, these are Honduran white bat cubs. They don't fit the usual bat stereotype. They don't live in caves and they don't suck blood. As you can see, their fur is snow white. Apart from being very rare, it seems likely that the Honduran white bat will soon be classified as endangered. Let's hope the right steps are being taken to make sure this special species can survive. Cheetahs. Did you know that cheetahs are considered much less aggressive and dangerous than other big cats? Some countries even allow this species to be kept as a pet. Cheetahs are not as big as tigers or jaguars, and besides, adults bred in captivity don't see humans as a threat. But of course, the cheetah cubs are a real draw. If you're thinking of buying one of these, remember that they'll grow into large, voracious predators. It's also worth checking the legislation, as most countries have refused to accept the law on legalizing cheetahs as pets. Flamingos. It's unlikely you've seen flamingo chicks, even though these birds are pretty widespread. You can find them in Africa, South America, and Asia. But the average city dweller has a chance to see them only in the zoo, where the adults live in enclosures. Flamingo chicks look like a cross between a duck and a heron. They have gray down, funny long legs, and a beak. By the way, did you know that their plumage only turns pink over time? In fact, flamingos don't have pink feathers because of genetics. They get their color from tiny crustaceans called artemia, which are their main food. Artemia eat microscopic algae that produce lots of coloring substances. These plant pigments are first stored in the crustaceans' bodies and then make their way up the food chain to the flamingos, gradually coloring their feathers in bright colors. So the chicks turn pink after about 3 weeks. Hippos. For people in northern countries, seeing a real hippopotamus is already a big deal. And their cubs are just adorable. But even newborn hippos weigh a lot, from 44 to 88 pounds. They learn independence from the start, and they can almost sit in the water without any help. To stay at depth for a long time, they quickly learn to close their nostrils and ears in the water. It's hard to imagine that these clumsy babies will turn into fearsome giants that no one would want to meet in the wild. Pandas are a true symbol of China. In recent decades, these animals have become popular all over the world. In the past, pandas were feared to be exported outside of China, as there was a serious threat to their population. But today you can find them more and more often in large urban zoos, where they have learned to provide the right conditions for them. If before we could only imagine a panda on soft toys, now we have a chance to see them with our own eyes. But few people have ever seen the cubs of this cute bear. Have you ever looked online to see what panda cubs look like? Well, here's how they differ from the adorable plush toys from the children's shop. Newborn pandas look more like bald rodents than bears. Until they are 3 months old, they are weaker than kittens and can't even move around on their own. Echidnas. Like platypuses, these spiny animals are born from eggs despite being mammals. Photos of newborn echidnas on the internet often pass off as photos of baby platypuses. Some people might not find them particularly charming, but seeing them in person is a different story. After birth, the babies spend at least 50 days without leaving their mother's pouch. They go out into the big world having already grown small thorns, but they're still watched over by their mother for a long time. She not only feeds them, but also teaches them by example. Barn owls. It is a common misconception that all owl chicks look like plush toys from the shop. Take the barn owl, for example, which coexists peacefully with humans. Their chicks are long and skinny, with long legs and big black eyes. These birds are more suited as monsters in horror films than as prototypes for children's toys. It's unlikely you'll see tiny owl chicks, though. For the first 45 days of their lives, they sit in the nest, grow feathers, and make a lot of noise. Pangolin. Firstly, it's important to understand what pangolins are. They're the only mammals on the planet covered with scales, which serve as their defense in case of danger. Pangolins can curl up in a dense armored ball, which can only be deployed by a large enemy, such as a tiger or a leopard. However, even this doesn't guarantee the predator's success, because the pangolin has another element of defense. It's a liquid with a pretty bad smell that it releases when a predator tries to attack it. Female pangolins usually have only one cub. The newborn baby looks completely defenseless because it has soft little scales. The first few weeks of its life, the baby spends on the belly of the mother feeding on milk, and then moves to the tail of the mother. It rides there for the rest of its maturation period. If the mother feels threatened, she curls up into a ball to protect herself and her baby. And that's it. Leave a comment below to let us know which of these amazing cubs moved you the most. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.